What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining us today on Cinema Recap. Glad to have you here as always. So today we're going to jump back to 99 and touch upon The Mummy. Spoilers ahead. The beautiful pyramids of Egypt, one of the greatest wonders of the world, and a highly debated subject among history nerds. Was it aliens or slaves? No one really cares because we're going to deal with mummies today. Honestly, not bad graphics for 1999, right? Looks like Egypt was in its prime, pharaohs and all kinds of stuff. Well, aren't most cities full of living people? Apparently, that's Seti the First. He looks like someone that women marry for the money and not really anything else. Then there's Imhotep, some fancy high priest. There she is, the girl who's about to screw stuff up for everyone. Anaxuna something. Is it moon? That no one's allowed to touch. Something tells me that's exactly what's gonna happen. And these guys are painted gold. Man, imagine having like an itch or something. She's painted too. How does the pharaoh know if she didn't do it herself? Hey, at least Imhotep has some buddies looking out for him. Oh, nice guys. Why'd you let him in? Yeah, to be thinking something was up too. Where's Imhotep? Hiding in a closet? She's standing there looking all cute and innocent. He knows what you did, girl. Alright, come on, to be fair, really, how does he know she didn't do that herself? Like, seriously, they're surrounded by sand. No one ever gets an itch. Dang, the ultimate betrayal. Both of them? Imhotep's priests were like, come on, bro, we gotta leave. And apparently she's all good with dying because he's just gonna bring her back to life. Anyway, the Magi show up. There are some shirtless guys with tattoos and funny hats that are supposed to be protecting the pharaoh. Imhotep gets only a little sad when he watches his girlfriend stab herself. Come on, man. You could look a little more upset. Oh, no, he's gonna resurrect her. To save his oh-so-lovely girlfriend, he's gotta kidnap her dead body and take it to some place called the City of the Dead. Imhotep gives 0 Fs and goes right into the weirdness with his fancy book and her dead body, bringing her soul out of the underworld like a creepy shiny ghost. She's alive. Too bad you guys let the Magi and their funny hats follow you there. Could have worked out, but no. Imhotep couldn't stab her to finish the ritual, so her soul got big mad and threw itself back into the oily void that it came from. Wah, wah. That's the face of a man who knows he's screwed. And he took all of his priests down with him. They were condemned to being mummified alive. I think I'll skip the living brain scramble up the nose or however the heck they do it. Imhotep wasn't so lucky. If there's a way to endure something that's worse than being mummified alive. The what? Yeah, whatever it is, it sounds terrible. Apparently, it's so bad that he's the first guy to do the honors. Looks like he's also mummified alive. But they don't take his organs out. Either way, looks pretty awful. What's that? Bugs? Oh god, nightmare fuel. This guy's so bad his sarcophagus has a fancy key. So why would you put a curse on someone that you don't like, that could potentially come back to life and just wreak holy hell on Egypt and the world? Some time passes, like thousands of years. We've got some dudes on camels and horses, chasing and shooting at each other. Why not? Man loves to fight over things for no reason. Looks like they want the City of the Dead. Looks like the Magi still exist, even 3,000 years later. Okay, did that guy just run? You know it's gonna be a fun adventure when you see this guy on the roster. Just when you thought the guy would stay, too. Aw, poor horses. Our American is the quintessential cowboy. Handsome, rugged, and of course, a good shot. Well, it was only a matter of time before they broke past them. How many guns did he have? We learn our cowboy's cowardly friend's name is Benny. Our guy's in trouble, somehow dodging bullets while being chased down. They corner him, but they suddenly act spooked. Whispers and mysterious moving sand. Doesn't sound good. Who would have thought the City of the Dead would be haunted? The Magi watched the American run into the desert like an idiot. We jump to another city in Egypt. This time, one that's a little more well-known. Cairo. There's a pretty librarian putting away books, and she may be a little clumsy. Probably get fired after that.
Compared to you, the other plagues were a joy.
Jeez, that's awfully rude. I mean, she did just make a mess, but still, you'd rather have a plague of flies or locusts? He continues to use historical insults. Hey, at least it sounds like she's handy and knows her worth. Oh, well, and maybe her family's rich too. Instead of cleaning up her giant mess, she checks on some noise. Looks like a room full of kinds of stuff that could have mummies and other dead things in them. Turns out it's nothing nefarious, only her brother, Jonathan. John's the kind of guy that only plays games and enjoys drinking and gambling. But at least he's good to his sister, Evie. Likes to find things at dig sites for Evie to sell. What a fun trinket. It looks suspiciously like a key to something. Maybe a revenge-seeking mummy's tomb. Evie tells her boss that she thinks she's found something important. Evie says that it's the map to Hamunaptra, or whatever, the city of the dead. No one ever stops to wonder if maps sometimes lead to bad things. Guess not. Why would you draw a map to it? Her brother loves the idea of just finding gold. It's obvious where his priorities lie. The wealth of Egypt. That's enough to convince Jonathan to go. Her boss continues to be a giant a-hole and even accidentally set the 3,000-year-old map on fire. Come on, man. You know, for a historian, you should be ashamed. Evie and Jonathan decide to check out the Cairo prison because apparently her brother lied about where he acquired their new trinket, which the truth was he stole it from a guy. Which guy, you ask? It's our American friend from earlier. Looks like the desert didn't kill him after all. Guess prison life in Cairo's a little rough. Our American is no dummy and knows exactly what they're there to ask him. Looks like he finally recognized her brother. John deserved that. The American tells her that he was at Hamunaptra, and that's enough to get her interested. Maybe. Well, that's one way to ask for help, isn't it? Evie was a little shocked, but maybe not completely appalled. Looks like she was his last kiss, cause he's about to get his neck wrung. Evie keeps trying to barter with the prison warden. Looks like she didn't gamble all her parents' money away. Our poor American makes a few requests.
Loosen the knot and let me go.
She offers 500 pounds. And he seems interested, but is feeling a little greedy. Well, she clearly hurt his feelings. At least his neck didn't break. Evie keeps trying. He's still alive after all.
25. Deal.
They're preparing to go to the city of the dead, and Evie goes on about how she thinks the American is a filthy, rude scoundrel. Rick O'Connell? It's better than calling him the American the entire movie. And on a boat we have a group of Americans and a guy with a funny hat, heading to Hamunaptra. They take some friendly bets on who's gonna get there first, but it looks like they may have somebody trying to get in their way. Rick proceeds to bust out his bag of weapons. Not sure if he thought this would impress the librarian, but he's trying. She says she's looking for a book. Of course she is. Such a librarian. Rick has no idea how to talk to a lady. Looks like he found his old pal, Benny. You remember him? The coward from the beginning. So he's the one leading the other Americans to the same place. He then asks Rick's motivation for going back.
She saved my neck.
Literally. Benny seems to know our friend O'Connell pretty well. The Magi are trying their best to thwart the plans of these dumb people who want to play around in the city of the dead. So much so that they'll board that boat and scare the actual hell out of some people. Her hero. Rick starts shooting, not even asking questions. Poor Magi just trying to keep these people from resurrecting an evil mummy. The brawl on the boat doesn't last long since everything is on freaking fire. Jonathan thinking he's Indiana Jones or something. Rick and his crew end up on the opposite ends of the river from Benny, who realizes that he's not as good of a map as his old friend might be. Jonathan haggles over some camels and Rick finds himself falling for the girl. Their trip through the desert doesn't go unnoticed. The Magi recognize how annoying Rick is at this point. They wait for the sun to rise, showing the way to Hamunaptra. We'll see how well their camels hold up to Benny's horses. They certainly have an interesting relationship. Looks like the camels win. Why were they racing if they just ended up being there together anyway? Rick felt bad Evie lost her tools in the boat fire, and maybe acquired some new ones for her. They find the preparation room while exploring the city of the dead. It looks a little familiar. We also learn that the prison warden who tagged along
I hate bugs.
sounds pretty bad for him. I'm smelling a death by bugs coming. Everyone's a little on edge, as you can see. Ominous moaning sounds in a tomb are probably not ideal.
That's my toolkit.
Maybe that's where Rick got him. Evie, being the smart woman she is, realized that maybe they weren't in the place they needed to be. But it looks like they're missing someone. Why is he crawling on the ground? It appears our guy who doesn't like bugs thought it'd be a good idea to go pick some bug-looking creature off the wall. Blue gold. Never heard of blue gold. Meanwhile, the Americans and the man funding their expedition force some slaves to open a tomb they found. They think that it's the pharaoh Seti's resting place. Their leader seems like he knows something bad might happen. And he was right. Jonathan, Rick, and Evie finally find a sarcophagus. Well, it practically landed in their laps. Yeah, let's go with the latter, shall we? Blue gold, huh? What about flesh-eating insect instead? Oh, it takes a key. What could that be? Right, which is why you should probably not open it. Can't have Mummy Voldemort coming out haunting people. The prison warden makes his screaming entrance. Oh yeah, bet he really hates bugs now. The trio is pretty creeped out by the warden dying the way he did. Apparently, Evie doesn't believe in curses. Seems funny coming from an ancient Egyptian scholar. And the Magi show up to crash the party. Rick having a fun little standoff with a stick of dynamite. It's an interesting way to intimidate somebody.
Leave this place or die.
They were there to warn them to leave and left. Sloppy drunk Evie is honestly adorable and tells Rick about her parents, but he just doesn't get her. It almost got romantic. Kudos for Rick not taking advantage. The Americans and the English guy finally remove the chest from its 3,000-year-old booby trap. But there's a curse on the chest. Who's surprised? Raise your hand. Anyways, it literally says,
"Will come on swift wings to whomsoever opens this chest."
probably should not open that chest, guys. Yep, if that's not a sign, what is? Benny knows to run away. Meanwhile, our trio's about to do their stupid thing and open up evil old Imhotep's sarcophagus. Yeah, Imhotep is a pretty gnarly guy. The others find Imhotep's jars of organs and the Book of the Dead. They're apparently pretty pleased with themselves. I don't think I'd be bragging about carrying around a jar of mummy organs, especially when the box said that it would kill me for it. Evie talks about how Imhotep was sentenced to die via the Humdai, and if that person should arise, they would bring the 10 plagues with them. Seriously, guys, we got curses, mummies, but nothing bad's gonna happen, right? Our little librarian just can't help herself and borrows the book from the Englishman. Ominous wind blowing. Yeah, Rick knows what's up. That's when Evie really screws up. Ever heard of the 10 plagues? Well, first, it's locusts. That's right, everyone retreated inside where the now freshly arisen mummy is. He can't see without his glasses, but he could see that just fine. Scarabs chase the trio and Evie ends up finding the poor guy with his eyes and tongue ripped out. Oh, and you know, Imhotep's there too. Really? Oh, he must have a bad memory. Oh, maybe he took the eyes of a man with crap vision. Rick shows up in time to buck a few shots into him. Then the Magi show up. Pretty pissed that they just made a huge mummy mess. Benny, being the spineless man that he is, apparently also knows several languages. Once he got to Hebrew, Imhotep seemed to find a use for him. Where in the world did he pull that gold from? Rick wants to leave and Rick wants to bounce, and Evie thinks that she's gonna help the Magi stop him. Well, it is her fault, kinda. Who doesn't need a drink after unleashing a horrible curse? Somehow, Benny arranges a private meeting with the poor guy who already lost his tongue and eyes. Rick realizes that turning all the water to blood was next. I'm a little out of touch with my ancient Egyptian curses. They go to leave, but find Imhotep, who's just had his meal and leveled up. Did they just get saved by a cat? I was lucky. So it turns out that Evie's boss was actually working with the Magi. Explains why he tried to burn the map. Evie's asking why Imhotep wants her so badly. Turns out, she'd make a lovely human sacrifice for Anaxunamun. Rick goes to ask Benny about something. Well, rather bully him. Somehow he knows that he's working with Imhotep. He wants the book and Evie. Suddenly, they hear a ladylike scream, which was Imhotep eating the English guy. The other Americans are next. Bourbon's not gonna save you, man, and neither's that gun. Excuse me, sir, that's assault. Cat comes to the rescue again and sends Imhotep running. Evie, being a brilliant book nerd, gets the grand idea to find the Book of the Living. If the Book of the Dead can resurrect Imhotep, then the other should be able to kill him, right? Let's hope so, because now he has an army of people chanting his name. Jonathan's the real genius. Everyone, including the last cursed American, loads into the car. But he doesn't last long as Imhotep's people drag him into his doom. Sucks for him, but he had to see it coming. The Imhotep gang corners the rest of the crew. All he wants is Evie. Rick's not ready to let go of his would-be girlfriend, but her boss sacrificed himself to let the others escape. Rick decides to call on his old drunk pal Winston for a ride. He's got an airplane that only is a two-seater, so Jonathan and the other Magi friend have to hang on the wings. Imhotep opens up a giant wall of freaky sand magic to take him out. Evie tries to come in clutch, but I don't think that's enough. How the two on the wing survived is beyond me. But Winston wasn't so lucky. At least my man died doing something he enjoyed, drunk driving. O'Connell, Jonathan, and their Magi friend are working their way into the crypt, or whatever we should call it. Really, Jonathan? Evie told you about the scarabs. Well, thankfully they cut it out before it gets into his little greedy brain. John nearly faints when they walk into the room full of gold. Too bad Imhotep's priest minions rained on their parade. A walking dead, but, with mummies. Evie wakes up shackled to a table, probably a sacrificial one. Anaxunamun's next to her. He wants to use Evie's body to put his dead girlfriend into. I guess her old one's a little gross and a little smelly, probably. Oh, that's right. They were looking for the Book of the Living. Thankfully, they found it. Anaxunamun's poorly animated soul is coming out of the oily water again. Perfect timing with Jonathan. The Walking Dead mummies go after Rick and, well, he manages. Jonathan's dumb mouth speaks some random words off the book's cover. That's when the elite mummies come out. And these guys look like they can parkour or something. Rick has a slightly harder time against these dudes. Thankfully, Evie reminds him of a symbol. Jonathan then sends the guards after Anaxunamun. Dang it, now he's pissed. Man, it's nice to be a mummy. Evie finally does come in clutch and has a cool looking chariot yank Imhotep's immortal soul out and carry it away. Nice. Now he's stabbable. As the tomb collapses and they run, Jonathan butterfingers the dang book into some gross mummy skeleton water. And Benny's greed got the better of him when he couldn't make it out in time. Sucks to be Benny. But at least our trio makes it out alive. Hey, what happened to the Magi dude? Oh, good. And Benny was thoughtful enough to load up a bunch of loot onto a few camels. Looks like Jonathan's gonna get some gold after all. Evie and Rick share a nice little kiss and ride off into the sunset. And there you have it, guys. Thanks for chilling with us on this classic flick, The Mummy. Also produced by Universal Pictures and Alphaville Films in '99. Quick question, do you remember what symbol Jonathan was stuck on? Was it A, an owl, or B, a stork? Leave that answer down below with the hashtag Cinema Recap, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you felt all this. Once again, thanks for chilling, guys. Couldn't do it without you. As always, till next time.